Hey there, my name is Barb. Today I'm going to show you how to use ElevenLabs to generate speech, sound effects, clone your voice, and more. Let's dive in. If you're interested in taking it to the next level with us and joining a group that truly cares about your success with AI, then you should join AI Foundations. We have 5 coaches, unlimited tech support, and an evolving course curriculum from beginner to expert level courses. You can join using the link in the description down below. So before we dive in, please drop a like to show your support. It'll help me keep making videos like this one. Okay, so now that we are logged into ElevenLabs, we're gonna just go through each kind of tool that you can use on the platform one by one. So we're gonna start with voices. So over here on the left-hand side, we're gonna click voices, and we're gonna click into the trending voices. And so at the top of the list are going to be the most popular, like the ones that are trending right now. So let's take a listen to Soothing Narrator.
Crystal clear narration brings each scene vividly to life, engaging your senses.
So you can see why it's trending, because it sounds really nice resonance, right? So if we want to add this voice to our collections, which is basically just a way of saving it, then we can come over here on the right and click Add to My Voices. So we can add it to a collection, and collection is just kind of like a folder. So I already have a folder set up called Demo, and so I'm going to add it there. But if you wanted to create a new collection, you can click this Create New Collection button, give it a name, and then click the Create Collection button. But like I said, I'm just going to add it to my Demo folder and click Add Voice. Now you can also search by the voices that have been created the latest, which means that they're the newest, that have the most users or the most character usage. You can also filter by a bunch of different things like the language, the accent, what category it falls into. So if you're looking for something that's appropriate for social media or something that's more appropriate for ads, then you can select those by clicking these buttons here. You can also search by gender, age, and notice period, and custom rates. So if you want to include voices with custom rates or exclude them, and that just means how many credits they'll eat up. So if I wanted to select a voice that has a British accent, then I can click that here, and I want something that's appropriate for narrative and storytelling, so I'll toggle that button and click Apply Filters. And so let's give a listen to Amelia.
Hi, I'm Amelia, a super high quality English voice.
So that sounds really nice, but it's just another way that you can search for exactly what you're looking for. Now, if I come back over here to the home screen, if I scroll down, I can click on the best voices for 11v3. And 11v3 is the newest model that ElevenLabs has, and it's the most expressive, but it's still in alpha. So that means it's not even in beta yet. So it's really experimental, and it involves a bit more prompting to be able to use it effectively. But the best voices for 11v3 include James. So let's go ahead and add him to my voices, and then we can experiment with v3. Okay, now to access my voices, I can just click up here at the top, and then I can click this button here to use this voice. So I will input text, and then the voice will read that text. So let's have him read this text. I'm feeling very upset right now. I'm gonna click the model and change it to V3. Okay, and with V3, you can add these tags between the brackets, like laughs or thoughtful. There are a bunch of different emotions or ways of speaking that you can have your speakers use by using those tags. And so let's generate the speech and see what it comes up with.
I'm feeling very upset right now. Ha ha ha.
So right now it doesn't have a lot of emotion. So let's try to add some other words to this so that it will convey a bit more context to the model so it knows how to read the text. Okay, so we added, he snarled angrily, his voice seething with rage. Now let's regenerate that.
I'm feeling very upset right now. He snarled angrily, his voice seething with rage.
All right, let's listen to generation 2.
I'm feeling very upset right now. He snarled angrily, his voice seething with rage. Ha ha ha.
So that's kind of a creepy laugh, but it's really cool that you can add something like, he snarled angrily, his voice seething with rage, to change the tone of what's being said. Now, if you were creating like an audiobook or a podcast or using this for some other kind of media, you would just need to edit out this last bit so that he's not reading kind of the instruction to the model. But the cool thing about V3 is that you can have multiple speakers within the conversation. So you can click Add Speaker and then click here to change the voice. We'll put it to Jane and we'll add her to my voices. And so now I've added a little bit of text for Jane to respond with. So let's generate that and see how the conversation sounds between James and Jane.
I'm feeling very upset right now. He snarled angrily. his voice seething with rage.
And I'm just here. Well, I guess I don't know why.
So you can hear kind of the intonation that Jane uses when it has that thoughtful tag built in. So she's saying, well, I guess I don't know why. Another thing that I want to point out is whether you're creating a voice or you're creating a sound effect or anything on the ElevenLabs platform, the way that you download that audio is by clicking this download button wherever you see it. So you can click this button to download it, and then just depending on where your computer is set up to save those downloaded files, it could be on your desktop, could be in your downloads folder, or in My Documents. So check out your computer and see where those files get saved. Okay, so we're gonna come back to the home screen. Okay, so next we're gonna check out voice design, which allows you to develop an entirely new voice based on a text prompt. So we'll click on voice design, and it comes up with a pre-built prompt, and you can read about the best practices for creating an effective prompt here, but you can also just choose a random prompt for fun. So you can click on this random prompt generator. So let's go ahead and listen to an older woman with a thick Southern accent. She is sweet and sarcastic. You can also tweak the settings here by increasing the loudness or making it more quiet, and changing the guidance scale. So guidance controls how closely the AI model follows the prompt. So if you want it to be a little bit more loose and creative, then you can turn it down low, or if you want it to really follow the prompt as you have it written, you can turn it higher. But let's go ahead and generate this voice and see how she sounds.
Well, sugar, if all we ever do is chase titles and trophies, we're gonna miss the whole darn point.
All right, and it gives us 3 variations, so we're gonna listen to all 3 and see which one we wanna keep.
Well, sugar, if all we ever do is chase titles and trophies, we're gonna miss the whole darn point.
All right, and the third one.
Well, sugar, if all we ever do is chase titles and trophies, we're gonna miss the whole darn point.
All right, so I like 3, so I'm gonna go ahead and select that voice, and then we're gonna give her a name. So old Southern lady, and then we're gonna assign a value of English because she's an English speaking lady, and then we're gonna click save voice, and that's gonna save that voice to our collection. Okay, now if we come back over to the home tab and scroll down, we can also clone our voice. So I'm gonna click on instant voice clone. There's also a professional voice clone. That one's a little bit more difficult to use, especially if you're a beginner. And the reason for that is, number 1, you have to have a really high quality microphone. Number 2, you really need to have a soundproofed room. And number 3, you need to generate at least 30 minutes of really clean, high quality audio in order to generate that professional clone. So for the purposes of most beginners projects, the instant voice clone is a little bit easier to use and is probably going to do just fine for your use case. So let's click on instant voice clone. Now you can pre-record and then drag and drop the audio file here, or you can record it just using your built-in microphone on your computer, or if you have a webcam. So I'm gonna click record audio, and we're gonna create a voice clone for me right now. Okay, so I will click start. Hi, this is Barb with AI Foundations, and I really feel like everyone should subscribe to our YouTube channel. I mean, why wouldn't you? Also, join the AI Foundations community. It's the best place to learn about AI and help you stay irreplaceable. Okay, so now that I have that recorded, I'm gonna leave this checkbox on so it removes any background noise from my audio recording, and then I'm gonna click next. Okay, so I'm gonna name this Barb clone. It's automatically added as English. I can put a description in here if I want, but since it's just my own clone, I don't really need a description. But let's listen to the voice.
A volcano's roar reminds us of Earth's fiery heart.
That sounds pretty accurate.
A volcano's roar reminds us of Earth's fiery heart.
All right, so I'm gonna click this checkbox to confirm that it's my voice, and then I'm gonna save it. And now it's giving me the option to generate the speech, so I can use it with text to speech. I can speak with myself through an ElevenLabs agent, or I can use it to even narrate a story. So if I were creating a podcast or some other kind of long form media, then I can use it in that context. But I'm gonna go ahead and click skip for now. Okay, the next thing that we're gonna explore is text to speech. And so we've already kind of gone through the new V3 alpha, and so I want to show you how you can use your own voice clone. So now I'm gonna switch the model to 11 Multilingual V2. And then I'm gonna select my Barb clone voice in my list. And then something that I wanna point out is that you can adjust the speed to be slower or faster. You can adjust the stability, which means it's gonna make you sound more consistent. So if you're generating multiple different files of audio, then increasing the stability can make it sound more consistent each time that you generate it, but it also might make it sound a little bit more robotic or monotone. And so if you're using longer text, you might want to turn it down just so that it doesn't have that kind of robotic sound to it. Then you can also experiment with the similarity. So a high enhancement means it's going to sound more like my clone or more like me. And with any of these different options, adjusting it too high or too low can have kind of funky repercussions. And so you want to experiment with it so that it's optimal for whatever it is that you're using it for. So for my clone, I'm going to actually turn up the style exaggeration because I want it to be a little bit more exaggerated than the audio that I uploaded so that it sounds a little bit more enthusiastic or more like me. So I'm going to turn it from 0 to 40 and see how it sounds. I also always use the speaker boost and have that turned on. It's going to take a little bit longer to generate, but it boosts the similarity of the synthesized speech, and that's what I want. All right, so let's generate this speech and see how it sounds.
Hi, I'm Barb. Y'all should probably hit the like button.
All right, so I feel like she's talking really fast, so I'm going to slow it down just a little bit and see what the new version sounds like.
Hi, I'm Barb. Y'all should probably hit the like button.
Now I sound like I'm from the Midwest. Another thing that I want to add is that you can actually add in like a little bit of a pause in between sentences if you want there to be more of like a pause.
Hi, I'm Barb. Y'all should probably hit the like button.
All right, so this is the professional way if you want to add a nice break in between sentences. So this tag right here, which is called SSML, is going to instruct the model to take a pause for 1.5 seconds between the first sentence and the second. So 1.5 seconds might be kind of long. Let's turn that down to 1 second and see what she comes up with.
Hi, I'm Barb. Y'all should probably hit the like button.
So now I'm very Southern. I kind of like it. But that's the pro way that you can add breaks in between sentences. So like, let's say you're creating a meditation to listen to at night. Instead of your model rushing through and saying everything quickly, even if you turn down the speed, you can add those breaks in between sentences so that it sounds more soothing and natural. Okay, next let's go experiment with the voice changer. So we'll click on voice changer here on the left. And so this is kind of a cool way that you can model how you want something to sound by speaking it yourself and recording that speech for the model to kind of use as a reference point. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to click record audio. Hey, I'm Barb and I think y'all should hit the subscribe button. Okay, so it says click generate to start processing.
Hey, I'm Barb and I think y'all should hit the subscribe button.
Obviously that is using my own voice clone and so it sounds very similar to what I recorded, but let's change it up and use a different voice. Okay, now we're regenerating the speech and using Liam.
Hey, I'm Barb and I think y'all should hit the subscribe button.
So that's a really fun way to kind of model exactly how you want it to speak. And then you can use any voice in ElevenLabs and have it model that exact intonation and inflection. Okay, next we're going to check out how to create sound effects in ElevenLabs. So we're going to click over here on sound effects. So there are a bunch of categories that you can explore of pre-built sound effects. But I think what's really fun is that you can come in here and use your own prompt to create your own personalized sound effect. So I'm going to just type in something simple like cat meowing and purring. Now these settings at the bottom are things that you can tweak if you need to. So this little infinity sign, you can turn it on or off, and that's basically meant to be played on repeat or just like a one-time sound effect. You can also change the duration. So you can turn it to auto, where ElevenLabs is going to automatically determine how long the duration should be. And you can also click the prompt influence button and turn it higher or lower. So higher meaning the prompt is going to have more influence over the sound that's created, and low meaning it's going to have less impact on it. So basically ElevenLabs will have more kind of creative license to make it sound how it thinks it should. But I'm going to leave these settings as is. And I'm going to generate this cat meowing and purring sound effect. Okay, so it gives us 4 different options, and let's choose which one we like best. Okay, so I think I like number 2 the best. So again, to download it, I can just click this download button, or I can star it right here to add it to my favorites. But this is really cool if you want to create any kind of sound effect, like for a podcast, or like swoosh sounds as a transition, an audience laugh track. or even sound effects for video games or YouTube videos. Okay, next we're gonna test out the voice isolator. So I can drag and drop files here if I wanna clean up any background noises that might be taking place. So let's say you have a baby crying in the background when you're trying to record a podcast. Or you're recording and somebody is clapping, or you have pets in the background, which is frequently my problem. Or you have a squeaky office chair, which is super annoying to listen to if you're listening back to your audio. So let's record some audio with my squeaky office chair and see if it will eliminate that background noise. Hey, this is just some sample audio. I hope you can't hear the annoying background noise of my chair squeaking and making noises in the background. Okay, so let's take that audio and submit it.
Hey, this is just some sample audio. I hope you can't hear the annoying background noise of my chair squeaking and making noises in the background. Man, that would be annoying.
So it does a pretty decent job. If you've ever used a product like Adobe Podcast, that's like the gold standard, but this is pretty decent too. So if you have any kind of background noise, like a child crying or dogs barking, definitely give this a try. Okay, next we're gonna check out Studio. So we're gonna go and click underneath Products and click on Studio. So there are a bunch of different features in Studio that we can use. You can start from scratch or import files to create a new audiobook. You can auto-generate a podcast from documents or URLs. You can create a voiceover from any web page simply by using the URL for that web page. You can generate a script using AI just by inserting a prompt and having it do the rest. And for video, you can create a new video voiceover, so you can clone your voice and then add that voice onto an existing video. You can add sound effects and music, even voiceovers, to an existing video file. You can add automatic captions for videos, which is super powerful if you're creating content on a platform like YouTube. You can remove background noise from videos, which we know how powerful that can be. You can fix voiceover mistakes, so you can actually use speech correction to fix any mistakes that you've made when recording a video. And you can auto-generate music for your video with AI. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just gonna add a random video file that I have, and we're gonna create some music for it. Okay, so I'm adding a YouTube short that I posted, and it has a video description that it's auto-generated. And so it's suggesting a specific type of music. So the atmosphere is informative and direct with a realistic visual style. The content suggests educational or instructional tone, so it's suitable for upbeat, modern, slightly energetic background music. So let's go ahead and create this project. Okay, so let's click play and see what it's come up with. Sounds pretty good. Let's unmute the audio from the actual video that I uploaded. And then I'm gonna click on the audio track and turn down the volume a little bit so it's not so overwhelming. So I'm gonna turn it down to about 6% and see how that sounds.
Client acquisition, you can use Upwork, cold outreach, or just your warm network. And tracking can be super simple. Just use Airtable or Notion. And remember to
So that sounds pretty good. You can mess around with it to your heart's content. And even in this studio, I can add a sound effect. So let's say I wanted to add, I don't know, let's search for some cat noises. Let's add a simple cat meow to our video. So as you can see, it imported that sound effect right where I have this marker dragged. And so now I can continue to play this and see how it sounds with the cat meow, but I do want to turn this cat meow down a little bit so it's not overwhelming. So I'll put it maybe at 7% and see how this sounds.
remember to focus on progress over perfection.
So we can hear it a little bit. I want to go ahead and turn it up. So let's just put it at about 17%.
And remember to focus on progress over perfection.
So you can hear the cat meowing in the background. Obviously, I probably wouldn't add a cat sound, but you get the idea. You can add transition sounds to videos, intro music, anything you want. You get to be really creative with this. But this is really cool that you can add and edit this all in one place in the studio. Okay, next we're gonna go to music on the left-hand side. So I'm gonna create a song just using a prompt. Okay, so create a short jingle for an ad for a cat farm. I want to include a lyric that says, "We love cats." And now I'm gonna click generate and see what it comes up with. Okay, and you can see in real time as it's generating the first variation. So it has an intro, a chorus, and an outro. So let's give variation 1 a try. All right, so you get the idea. But the point is you can generate an entire song just based on a prompt, which is amazing, huge time saver. Okay, next we're gonna experiment with dubbing. So on the left-hand side, we're gonna click dubbing and we're gonna create a dub. I'm just gonna name this project Demo. The source language I'm gonna select as English, and the target language I'm gonna go ahead and say Spanish. I live in California and there are a lot of Spanish speakers here in California, and so I'm gonna use that as my target language. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just select that same video file I was using before, and I'm gonna create my dubbing project. And I'm gonna select the number of speakers as 1 and click create dub. So obviously this is really cool because if you don't speak a certain language but you want to be able to reach viewers of all different kinds of languages, this makes it super easy for you. And if you do speak Spanish, I want you to comment down below and tell me if it actually does a good job with dubbing this. Okay, so let's click on this and see how it sounds. Okay, let's listen to the Spanish version.
Incluso solo Google Maps para alcance. Para la adquisición de clientes puedes usar Upwork, Contacto en Frío o simplemente tu red de contactos.
So that's pretty awesome. Then I can just click export and now I have another video that I can post on YouTube or whatever platform that's speaking directly to Spanish speakers. Next, I want to come over to speech to text. So I can click transcribe files and then drag and drop audio into the transcriber. So I can set my primary language to English. I can choose to include subtitles and then I just upload the file. All right, and then let's click on that and check out the transcription. All right, so this is pretty awesome. We now even include sighs and sniffs, so that's pretty funny. But now I have this whole transcription and I can create captions with this or just use it to generate a podcast or something like that. Okay, so everything that we've covered lives inside of Creative Platform on ElevenLabs, which is designed for creators and experimentation. If you're looking to use ElevenLabs for something like an AI voice agent or advanced integrations, that happens inside the agents platform, which I'm going to be covering in an upcoming video. Now there are different tiers, including a free tier which gives you 10,000 credits to use, but it does have some limitations on the features, like voice cloning, for example. So you're only able to clone your voice if you have at least a starter plan, which is $5 a month. And with the free tier, you aren't granted a commercial license, which means nothing that you create with the ElevenLabs platform can be used for commercial purposes, i.e. to make money. With the $5 a month starter plan, there are some limitations as well, like you don't have access to the professional voice clone, but for most people who are beginners, you don't need that necessarily at this point. The $22 a month creator plan will unlock all the features mentioned in this video. I'm genuinely curious about how you're going to use these ElevenLabs features to build something cool. So comment below and let me know what you're planning on creating. Now you know how to use every tool inside of ElevenLabs Creative Studio. If you want to learn how to use the ElevenLabs Agents platform, feel free to subscribe because I'm going to be doing a deep dive into that in the very near future. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.